Call the meeting to order. All stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show all board members are present. We don't have a student rep tonight. We'll start with our principals. Ms. Stefanich, would you like to start?
Sure. A couple things that happened just recently. Mrs. Carey and the Franklin Student Council made their blankets and delivered them today, actually, down to the nursing home. The total of 87 blankets were tied with that grant that they got, so they delivered those. Our McTeacher night, I think I sent out an email a few weeks back, was a huge success. We made over $1,000, and the teachers are in the process of, we haven't quite decided what it's going to be used for, but obviously for our students. So I'll let you know when we do decide that. Children's dental comes to us tomorrow. I believe that'll probably be the final time for this year. We have, and I failed to mention this before, so I apologize, a parent support group that has been run in the Franklin. It's sponsored by Range Mental Health and St. Louis County Family Collaborative. Our ADAPT counselor, Carol Kostich, has been running that. And they've had 3 sessions, but they have one coming up again on Wednesday, and that's available to all parents that want to just come for a parent support group. It starts at it's from 6:30 to 7:30 in the Franklin Media Center. So that's out there. Our 1st and 2nd grade went to the play Aesop's Foibles last week at Mesabi Community College, and they had a great time at that. So that was nice to see. And Franklin, the Title I Family Fun Night is coming up next week. No, I lied. It's coming up this Thursday for our Title I students. They get pizza, pop bingo, and they play there for an hour. And I think last but not least is we have spring pictures coming up on April 9th. Yes?
Can we do that night at McDonald's monthly?
No, I wish. I wish. I know that it's a rotating schedule.
Oh.
We did it, I want to say, probably 3 or 4 years back, and it's a rotating schedule between the elementary schools in the area, or schools. I don't know if it's always elementary, but what a great night. What a great success for us. So.
I think that parking lot was overflowing, at least when I got there.
It was. It was. It was. Thank you.
Next.
We had, on Friday, we had our end of the quarter junior high dance, which was a huge success. There was 123 kids there from the 7th and 8th grade. Thank you to Mrs. Clennon and the student council for putting that on. Everyone had a great time except for a little fire alarm that went off. But we also have a new member to our media center. It's a robot named Neo. It was a grant written by Lee Zika, and it's being used in our coding class. So the kids are learning how to interact with it. It answers questions, it does different things. So it's a learning process, and it actually can learn facial recognition stuff, and so it will recognize people that work with it eventually. We have a cyberbullying presentation on Monday, March 30th at 8:30 in the auditorium for our 5th through 8th grade. There's obviously been problems with cyberbullying, and this is a presenter that Ms. Sebo set up that is coming up. We also have a Text for Life program on Wednesday, which is a group, I think it was started out of Carleton County somewhere, and they talk about what to do with teenagers, who they can reach out to through social media to get help that they need if they're ever in crisis.
Is that this week, Wednesday?
That's this week, Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And that's it.
My turn.
Your turn.
We also have a cyber safety presentation. The presenter is Dave Eisenman. He's a teacher in Minnetonka school system. Don't quote me on that. One of the big city schools. They're on spring break next week, so this is perfect. His presentation is about cyber safety and cyberbullying and cyber harassment, and he actually has students bring their devices with them, so students will be encouraged to bring their cell phones to this event because it's interactive, and he'll have them text in some responses over the course of the event. So the senior high presentation is at 10:15, and then he's leaving us, and we'll go to the Mountain Iron Schools in the afternoon. We also have Text for Life coming. I believe it's Wednesday. I don't know the time. I think she's coming to us after the junior high school. Other field trips that our groups have taken, the physics class went to the annual toothpick bridge competition at UMD. I thought my students were going to have the details for you tonight, so I didn't get the winners and their placements, but they just told me about an hour ago that they weren't going to make it, so they can give you an update next time. The English department went to see Romeo and Juliet in the Cities on March 4th. They had a great trip. Mrs. Bauman took her fashion and interior design class to 5 different businesses in Virginia. She said it was a fantastic trip. The Perkins funding paid for that one because she is a vocationally licensed teacher. So they went to floor to ceiling. At all 5 of these businesses, they were able to talk to the people that do the purchasing, do the designing, run the businesses, and really learn what that's like hands-on. This week on Thursday, we have the annual skills fair at Mesabi Range College. It will be on both campuses this year. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Kids divide into teams and they do competitions in the various programs there. So if you'd like to come and wander around and see what they're up to, the prizes are awarded at about 1:30 usually. Depends on when those last groups are done. But prizes are awarded. One school is deemed the overall champion. We're really hoping to take it this year. So. And Liz Beyondich is taking her CPR and AED class to Hibbing Community College's health fair this Friday. She is hoping to put on a health fair of our own next fall. So she's going to really learn and make some connections, and hopefully that CPR class will host their own health fair next year. This is a new class for us. Band and choir contest were last week. Our band contest was right here at Virginia, so that was a nice quick trip for them. The band got superior ratings from all 3 judges out of 40 points. Their scores were 36, 37, and 37. 2 soloists, Reed Melliker and Alyssa Olson, also got superior ratings on their solos. And the choir had 3 excellents. She did not send me their scores, but that's just the next step down. Also a very good rating, especially for a first-year program, essentially. There was 1 solo, and I believe she had a superior rating as well. That was Brianna Curry, by the way. About this time, you usually ask me to give you a report of how many seniors are in danger of not graduating. They're closer than they've been in a long time, but there's one who's walking a fine line right now. So out of the 78 students, I believe, one of them has his work cut out for him. Otherwise, they're all on track. MCA testing starts right after Easter break, April 7th, and runs until mid-May this year. ACTs fall in there somewhere as well. Those are mandated for 11th graders. So we will be administering ACT as a school district for the first time. That's a massive undertaking. If you'd like to volunteer to be a test administrator, you just give us a call. Otherwise, I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Item 5.0, achievement and recognition, and I have several of them, which is wonderful. Boys basketball, Mark Tikkanen made the All IRC team, All Arrowhead Conference team, and the North Central All-Star basketball game participant. Austin Erickson, All Arrowhead Conference team, All IRC defensive team, and North Central All-Star basketball game participant. Charlie Ryan, Minnesota State Boys Basketball Coaches Association Academic All-State. Girls basketball, we had Caitlin Rice and Maya DePaulis made the Arrowhead All-Conference. Mackenzie Perushik made the Arrowhead All-Conference honorable mention. So I think that's pretty impressive. 6.0 10.0, visitor input. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board who is not on the agenda? Seeing no one, we'll go on to the next item, 7.0, agenda changes and deletions.
I have a couple of them in front of you here. First one is 10.3, recommendation to hire Brad Hadrava as the Director of Maintenance, Grounds and Transportation, along with his corresponding request of leave of absence from his plumber A position. 10.4 would be the retirement of Nancy Namper, commencing at the end of this school year. 10.5 would be the resignation of Melissa Lotiger as cheerleader advisor. And I would like to amend one other thing on the agenda, and that is 11.8, closed session to discuss negotiation strategies. It also include principal negotiation on that as well.
Okay. 8.0, approve the agenda.
So move.
Support.
There's a motion by Keith, supported by Leon. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. 9.0, consent agenda. Motion by Keith,
Support.
support by Tom. Any discussion? Anyone want to pull anything out of there? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 10.0, personnel. 10.1, approve the resignation of Dave Coons, the girls' hockey coach. We do have a letter from Dave.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Leon, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, support by Mark. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
That will be posted now soon, and interviews will be conducted.
Do we have to make a motion for the posting for that internally?
Probably wouldn't hurt, yes.
Okay, I'll make the motion on the post for the hockey coach position and other related items that they need for the interviews and all that.
Okay.
And I'll support that.
Motion by Keith, support by Leon. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. 10.2, approve the lane change request of Janine Bauman. She's moving from BA plus 10 to BA plus 20.
She's in an pre-approved program to get her master's degree. Just on her way.
Motion by Keith, is there support?
Support.
Support by Tom. Any discussion?
Is this just a function of their process that they're on? This is just, the lane change stuff is just a function of the process that she's on for her master's?
Yeah,
It's just kinda-
the process is they apply for approval of a program if they enter a program.
Mhm.
So, and once they complete every 10 credits they complete, they can apply to have the lane changed.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. 10.3, appointment of Brad Hadrava to the Director of Maintenance, Grounds and Transportation.
Also move the
And I'll support.
Motion by Tom, support by Leon. Any discussion?
What's the duration of this? Just indefinitely? Do we have a time frame?
During my
Is it to finish up this year, or is it just to continue forward from here?
during my superintendent I'll ask the board chair to appoint a committee to negotiate a contract with Mr.
Oh.
Hadrava.
So it's undecided at what length the contract outline.
Do you want the leave of absence handled separately then?
It can be packaged.
Okay. There is a time specified in his request for a leave of absence.
Right.
Any other questions or comments on this?
I just hope this long-term. Okay, now?
All right, we have a motion by Tom, support by Leon, to put Brad Hadrava into the position of Director of Maintenance, Grounds and Transportation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
So just for clarification, what is the committee going to be doing?
Well, there is a contract for that position that expires on June 30th. So that committee would negotiate his next contract.
To continue on that, did we decide, I mean, that old contract is between us and an individual. I mean, is that contract still valid, me and that individual quit?
Well, it's actually between us and a position, for a position. It does have an individual's name on it, but it is for a position.
I guess.
That board committee can decide what they want to negotiate.
Right,
We agreed, I think we agreed as a group that June 30th, I mean, you can renegotiate the current contract if you want to.
well, just general contract law, if you enter it into with an individual and they sign a piece of paper and that individual breaks that contract, I mean, that contract just kind of goes away. I mean, that's why I was wondering, how does the contract just kind of keep life when one party leaves that piece of paper?
But the position.
It is
didn't
for a
go away.
position, though.
It's for a position though, Mike, it's not.
Oh, I understand that, but we entered into it with an individual.
And that individual decided not to stay with it, so it's still a position. I don't know what you're looking for.
I'm not looking for anything. I'm saying a contract is between two entities. If there's not two entities there, then there's not a contract.
Like I said, when chair forms a committee, you can.
And that's all I'm wondering is the clarification, because it just sounds adverse to anything that I've ever understood about contract law.
I think the only thing left on this issue is to welcome Mr. Hadrava on board in that position and to congratulate him. So
Yes.
thank you for taking the job on. We appreciate it.
Goodbye.
10.4, the
still-
resignation, I'm sorry.
Do we still have to appoint a committee to negotiate?
I'll ask for
We'll
one
do that.
Oh, okay.
later.
Sorry.
No, thank you. 10.4, we received a letter indicating that one of our teachers wishes to retire. I don't think we can prevent her from doing that, unfortunately. So this is Nancy Napper, who has indicated that she'll be retiring at the end of the 14-15 school year.
Well, reluctantly, I accept, motion to accept rather.
Motion by Keith, is there support?
Support.
Support by Tom. Any discussion?
Just sent her the usual letter, and she's going to be, her name will be added to the list of retirees at the end of the school year. Okay.
Well, this will be reluctant, but all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Madam Chair? I have a quick question on 10.3. You approved that, put me to work, but we didn't cover the leave of absence.
It's packaged in
Is
there.
that a package there?
They're stapled together.
10.5, accept the resignation from Melissa Lotiger as her position of cheerleader advisor.
So moved. Support. With thanks.
Motion by Leon, support by Keith, that we accept the resignation. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 11.0, new business. 11.1, approve the track and field agreement with ISD 706.
There's two options on that agreement. One is a blanket, $3,000 for, I hate to say the word unlimited use, but unlimited use around what they use their track for. The other option is just a daily use. We've traditionally done the daily use thing because you never know with weather how many times they're going to get there. So, like for instance, they only used it 3 times last year. So I'm recommending option number 2 with the daily use and 1 track meet for $400.
Is this for just a 1 year, every year we do
Yes,
this?
we do this every year.
Is this a school year or just 2015? If
It's just this
fall will-
just this season.
I'll make the motion that we take option 2.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Leon, support by Mark, that we go with option 2. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. 11.2, approve Interquest Detection Canine Contract for 15-16.
This is something the district's been doing for, I don't know, a number of years. Right, didn't it?
Okay, we think of how many?
Yeah. We get a small amount in what's called Safe School Funds, which covers this contract. There's fairly limited things that we can do with that. So.
I'll move.
Support.
Moved by Keith, support by Tom, that we approve the contract with Interquest Detection Canines. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. 11.3, discussion on network administrator.
I put this on the agenda because we currently, a few years back, we decided to contract with CW Technologies to be our network administrator. The district was in pretty rough shape with their technology, and I think they did a lot of good things to get us caught up to speed and whatnot. However, we're at a point where I feel it would be really advantageous for us to have that person actually working in the building with us every day. It's kind of become cumbersome to get someone up here from Duluth when we do have problems. And I guess what I'm looking for tonight, I don't even know if we can find one, but I know that we spend somewhere between $55,000 and $80,000 on CW services every year, and I gotta believe that we can find a network administrator in that price range to be fairly cost neutral. And just looking for input. What do you guys think?
What does that monthly charge actually constitute, Jeff? Well, in other words, what are they doing to earn that $4,600 a month, or whatever it is?
Right now, when we have a problem with technology, say a computer doesn't work, I'll just use that as an example. We put in an electronic ticket into their system, and they are remotely able to fix whatever problem's on that computer. However, lots of our hardware things, our network, our servers and whatnot, those have to be, there needs to be somebody on site. And they do come occasionally when we have issues with that. They do all of our upgrades, like when we need a server upgrade or whatnot, they perform those duties remotely, pretty much. Things like that.
And they're paid travel time from the time they leave Duluth until the time they get back. So that's over and above that retainer fee.
Do you know that?
I thought that was already...
I think it's included in their fee if it's a normal routine thing. If we call them up to do something, then you're right, then it is additional mileage.
I did notice there was one comment made that it takes them quite a while to get up here if you have a minor little problem, and it's over the phone and back and forth talking. Also, we have a computer firm in town that we could utilize too, in cases of where you need something done right away. That's Close Snap Technology.
Yeah.
And they're right here in Evelyn, and we could look into...
I have met with those folks.
You have? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, and they told me that they don't do network administration. What I'm looking for someone that can manage our servers, manage our network, and keep that up. I mean, they do repairs. They do computer repairs.
Where's CW at?
They're out of Duluth.
And I think the upside is that they did bring us from the Stone Age
Yeah, they did a lot of good
up
work.
to where we are today, and certainly it needs improvement, but I think we owe them a great deal for getting us that far. But now I think we've outgrown what they do for us, and we need someone in-house to maintain this. And from what I'm hearing from staff, they're not happy with
The response time
the
has not been great.
response. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting we wait for simple problems for a long time, and it's becoming frustrating for staff and
Now, would
students.
this be a standalone contract for this individual? Would you anticipate this isn't?
I guess I hadn't put a lot of thought. It could be some school districts do. Some school districts, it's part of the teacher contract. Some people, it's part of the ASME contract.
Okay.
Would that affect, don't we have kind of a part-time technology person as
We
it
would have
is?
to maintain that. We would maintain what we have.
But, I mean, if we brought somebody in full-time, that kind of wouldn't make that position irrelevant or obsolete?
Not at all.
Okay.
I think we should move ahead, at least explore the
I mean,
possibility.
I guess at this point, I'm just asking, can I post it and look and see what the possible, I don't even know if we can find one. I mean, I haven't had any knock on my door recently.
Don't look at me.
Well, I'll move that we give you the authority to at least do the legwork and post, if that's the direction you want to go, develop a job description, whatever's required to at least find out. We need to do some research and see if we can even afford to hire somebody. Maybe what we think they work for and what the fact is might be different too.
I know what others around, I know that other school districts pay theirs, and we would be well within our means to.
Perfect.
Full support.
We have a motion and.
Mona made the motion, I second.
Is there any further discussion on this?
It's only exploratory at this.
Right.
But we have to do something, we just can't sit back and do
Yeah,
nothing.
and just so we're clear, I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post for a network administrator and see
See what happens.
what happens.
Okay.
Both.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 11.4, discussion on working sessions.
I told you when we went to one meeting a month and one working session that after a few months we would evaluate how that's going. And there you go. I guess if you want just to start the conversation, I guess I would at this point recommend that we go back to 2 meetings a month, 2 regular meetings a month.
I would probably agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that working session, everything piles up at one meeting. You can't do anything except at the one meeting. Sometimes that's well over a month before we can actually take any action on anything. And it is the busy time of the year.
I think with all the contract negotiations going on and
Everything.
we've got seasonal sports and other things happening, it'd be nice that we can take action, absolutely. You want to put that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I will. Make a motion and we go back to 2 meetings as normal.
Two regular board meetings.
I'll second.
Motion by Keith, support by Mark Forty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 11.5, authorize administration to create a request for proposal for facilities options.
At our last working session, we had talked about our facility studies that we had recently done and the one that was done a year ago, or 2 years ago. And I think everyone agreed that one of our problems that we have right now is our space and what to do with it. And the request here is to go out for a proposal to hire a firm to make specific recommendations on what we can do to better improve our efficiency with our use of space.
Are we talking about or a problem that we have with the air now too? Is that gonna be included?
That would be
or is this
included
just
in
gonna
the-
be just space?
Well, it would be overall facility improvements. I mean, we would take the recommendations that have been given to us and we would act on them. How about that? That's a little better way to put it.
Well, I put some thought into this, and originally when we had UNESCO come up here, haven't seen him be here, he's over in Grand Rapids today, he stopped in, but they just did a basic thing to give the board direction in which way to go,
Right.
where we, what we needed, and they actually didn't get into the nuts and bolts of it. You had this one firm come up from Duluth now, they did the air, not quality, but they did an air CFM test on that. Did we get a report back on that yet?
I don't have one right now. I would anticipate by the end of the week. I'll
By
have
the end
one
of the
back.
week. Okay. If you recall back when Kevin McHale was up here, he said at that time, anytime we needed UNESCO to come back up here, that they would come back up here again. And read it now, they could get into the nuts and bolts on this thing. And when I talked with Brad and the firm from Duluth, you're looking at that 1911 air unit in there, and they're talking on dampers, right, Brad?
Yes, I believe
Take
we
some
have
dampers?
some dampers.
Okay, and also ductwork, and to which you would need an engineer to get in there to look at. Now, are you looking at a Band-Aid package on this? That,
No more Band-Aids.
well, that's the thing, see, okay. I guess what my point is, at an old cost, are we paying for the test that, this airflow test now? Are we paying for that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, is there a dollar amount on that yet?
We haven't received a bill yet.
Well, I think, my opinion on this, being that UNESCO did not get into the nuts and bolts to actually come in with a fixed situation. They just give the overall picture of this thing. We can get, I called, talk to Kevin McHale. We can get an engineer up here by the end of the week at no cost again to the district. If you want him to look into actually what's got to be done to the unit, or are you going to go out and patch this thing up? I would make a motion that table 11.5 until we get UNESCO back up here and give us direction. They're into energy savings, they're into funding and everything. And again, it's at no cost. See what they got to say. And at that time, if we're not satisfied with what they come up with, then we can look elsewhere.
Anything free, you never end up paying nothing for it. I think we're going to end up some down the line paying for something.
Well, there's a motion on the table. Is there a support for it? Or does it die for lack of a second?
Well, I guess I'm unclear on are we at the point where we're past information gathering and we're looking at action, fixing things?
Yes.
Or, I mean, because that's, I guess, for lack of a better way to sound, Tom, it sounds like you still want to gather more information, and it's like if we're past that stage, and let's just get something.
I think we have the information. We're aware of what the problems are. We need a recommendation for how to fix it.
Well, I guess first of all, if there's no support, your motion dies for lack of a second at this time. Going forward, the request is that we simply authorize administration to create a request for a proposal for the facilities options and get that distributed. UNESCO would certainly be
They'd be
welcome to participate in that and submit something. No one is to be excluded from that. That's the whole idea. We need to determine, give authorization to administration, and I will make a motion to that effect that we authorize administration to create the request for proposal for facilities options.
I will second.
Thank you.
Okay, it's one thing in there, Mona, going on what you said, we could get different firms in there too. The language in there, to take out solicit bids and put in there to post and advertise for firms to bid on creative facilities, upgrade options for the board's consideration. In other words, we're gonna go out and advertise them, we're just not gonna solicit it.
That's what an
That's my
FRP
understanding of
advertise.
solicit.
That was probably a poor choice of words, and that was my fault. Advertise would be a better way to put it.
But, I mean, that's basically your intention, right? Is you're just gonna say, hey, these are the issues. We're gonna put together a packet. We're gonna throw it out there into the world and say who wants to tackle this to fix it.
There you go.
Is there any further discussion on this?
And if UNESCO wants to bid for free, we would accept that.
Yeah, absolutely. We would encourage that. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Polls.
.6, approve Jeff Carey as identified official of authority for MDE access.
This is something new from the Department of Education this year. They, of course, they have their website that we have to submit various data to over the course of the year, and they're requesting that one individual has the authority to authorize other people in the district to submit data into that site. So it is that person they're saying is typically the superintendent.
So this is it's required by the Minnesota Department of
This
Education?
motion is required by the.
Okay,
MD.
I'll move that we do that.
I'll support that.
Motion by Keith, support by Leon, that we approve Jeff Carey as our identified official of authority for MDE access. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 11.7, approve school calendar for the 15-16 school year.
Just to give a little background on how this gets put together, we have a calendar committee that consists of a staff member from each of the campuses, an administrative rep, and myself that puts together some options. This year we created 2 options, and then it goes out to the teaching staff for vote. So it was voted on this year. It ended up being, the only major differences between option 1 and option 2 were the Christmas vacation versus the Easter vacation. And the one in front of you is the longer Christmas vacation. That is the one that won the teacher vote. So that is what I'm bringing forward.
So this is option 1 or 2?
That's option 1.
Option 1.
I'll make a motion, we accept option 1, school calendar for next school year.
Support.
Motion by Leon, support by Keith, to approve the school calendar for the 15-16 school year. Any further discussion? I have one quick question.
Go ahead.
We're talking about doing telepresence in the fall, and this falls in line with working with the other districts and the other things that we're talking about?
It's pretty close. There's a day here and a day there. There's like a 2-day difference.
Okay.
One at Christmas, and there are a lot of schools that are opting to do the Monday, Tuesday at Christmas time and taking a longer spring break. So there is a couple-day difference, but in talking with the folks that are managing the telepresence, it's not going to be that big a deal. So it'll be fine.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 11.8, set closed session to discuss negotiation strategies.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Leon, support by Keith. Any discussion? Questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Superintendent's report.
All right, I got a couple things. I'm going to just pass these around. What's coming around here is a final draft of what the strategic planning committee came up with as far as mission, vision, beliefs, and goals. So you can see there's the seven different categories there that the committee came up with, the goals that we would like to work on over the course of the next 5 years. What has to happen now is we need to make an action plan to, so that action plan will give direction as to how those goals are going to be achieved. Within the next week or two, I'm going to be meeting with each of the building's leadership teams to start work on these action plans. We'll come up with an initial draft. At that time, we will reconvene I would say probably late April, we'll reconvene the regional strategic planning committee to review those, add, subtract, whatever. So I'll send those dates out to you when those come near. And then probably that first meeting in May, we should have a finished product that the board will consider and vote on. The other thing is, like I mentioned earlier, I would like Madam Chair to appoint a committee to negotiate with our new foreman.
Is there any interest by any board member?
I got time.
I'd be interested.
How big a committee do you think?
If you had 2 or 3, that would be more than adequate.
All right. Myself, Mike, and Mr. Forty.
All right, the other thing that I,
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
You want to set a date now, right?
I'm not going to set a date, no. I'll leave that up to you folks.
Okay.
The other thing that I do want to set a date for, though, is Candace and I have been working furiously on the budget for the next school year, and it's time for another budget and finance meeting. This week is definitely out, and then we have Easter break, so I'm looking at the week of April 6th. And that would be after Wednesday. So anytime after April 8th. Let's start with April 9th. How's that work for folks?
It works for me.
It's okay with me.
Okay.
April
I think
9th
so.
at 5?
Yeah.
It is. And then on that same night after we're done with that, we're going to have a policy committee. And that one will be quite so long. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Board member topics. Mr. Gentilini.
Oh, okay. Looking at the Evans Bus Garage, that's a Butler building, and I contacted the Butler Home Office and spoke with their engineering department, and they felt that this building could be extended. I know, and I measured, we have 22 feet between the end of the, going north, between the end of the building and the fence line. And all we need is the 6 feet for the longer buses at this point. And they gave me the did you contact that firm in Duluth guy?
Yeah, I left him a message. I haven't got a
okay.
back from him.
We contacted their representative down in Duluth, which is Johnson and Wilson, to have them come up with us an estimate on what it would cost just to extend the building instead of tearing the building down and building a new one. I'm sure we can save some money there. At least we could get a cost out of them to see if that would be the route to go.
I agreed. I asked if we could extend the current building just to get by in the interim until we figured out what to do with the rest of the properties, but.
So at this point, we're just waiting to hear back from that firm?
It'll certainly be a consideration. Just have to see how much it costs.
Right. How long do we have to use that money for the bus garage? Is there a time frame on it?
Yes.
This year.
It's going
this year.
Yeah, it's going to be probably August or September of this year.
August, and then it goes away.
Well, we can ask for an extension.
Well, there's two things you can do there, though. You can ask for extension, or also you can ask to use that money to put it into the school other than technology.
Right.
So that's another option there.
We have some options.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have some options.
Okay.
And that was kind of the conversation we had, was at the transportation meeting, we don't build a garage, we'd look at other directions we could allocate that money towards.
It would be nice if we heard some information coming from the transportation meeting, because you have it during the day now, where some of us can't make it because we work. So I'd like to have a report from the transportation committee.
Okay.
Tom, did you have anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Can we get that, have someone prepare it and get it to you
Yeah.
by mail?
Yeah.
Or email?
Yeah, email, I don't care, as long as I get something.
Okay.
Instead of standing in the dark and not knowing what's going on, and everything's being decided, and I don't know what's going on. I'd like to know.
Mike?
On a tail to that, do we have like minutes for our committee meetings?
Well, even just
Or
general
just a-
information would be nice to know, instead of just, oh yeah, we talked about it. Well, some of us that are on that committee don't know what you talked about. That's all I want to know. I mean, if something comes out of it, it's actually going to be better for us and cheaper and save money, we can use it someplace else, fine, but I never heard anything about it, so.
Well, I mean, in that our particular conversation, that the only reason why the garage came up is because we talked in circles about the new buses that we had to replace, and there was 3 that were on
Yeah, that,
agenda,
yeah.
and then there was other things. But I mean, I guess for lack of a better way, that was one of my topics that I was going to bring up. Is it seemed like we got more like weekly or bi-weekly emails before, and it seems like we get less now, or is that just? I guess I just ask if there is more information, if it can get shared, or if there's just not much going on. I mean, I understand, but
Emails
from Jeff, like once every week or two, we'd get kind of this happened. Figure we'd let you know. I mean, somewhere around the end of the year, it kind of just stopped. It seemed, and seemed like we had more. I just ask the superintendent if he thinks of something that comes up, if maybe you can be more cognizant on starting those up again, because they were kind of nice to keep everybody up to date. I read them. I don't know if anybody else did, but.
Yeah, I read them.
And then the other thing, I had one more thing. For whatever reason, I got probably way too much time on my hands, but I was flicking through the channels and Virginia School Board meeting was on, so I watched it. And like one of the biggest things that I kind of watch is that they're aggressively like recruiting for kindergarten next year in their preschool. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of early, but I guess they're getting registration numbers already for next year, and they're talking about an advertising campaign and marketing and, aggressively trying to get people to go to their school. And I'm like, do we do things like that? And if we do, when do we start? I mean, do we start after Virginia's already kind of sucked up all the people that were on the fence, or just kind of a notable mention? I thought it would be kind of something that, hey, if they're doing it this early, maybe we should start thinking about how would we attract for the next year. So
Okay.
throw that out there.
Did they discuss how they, when you say they aggressively?
There was talk about newspaper ads, changing their main page of their website from the standard generic kind of, hey, enroll here, to kind of get some graphics and, more appealing things to their website. I thought there was another, I didn't get the specifics because I was just kind of whatever, but they kind of talked about a whole bunch of different things, and I'm like, wow. And next they had a conversation. Do we have that conversation on, I don't know, just throwing it out there saying, hey, if they're doing it, maybe we should start talking about it instead of, in the summer when everybody's already registered for next year. So that's all I wanted to mention.
Okay, thank you. Keith?
No, not really. I can't remember what I was going to talk about.
We can come back to you.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Alright.
Go on, please.
Mr. Forty?
Well, a couple of things. There was an article in a local newspaper a week or two ago that the mayor, Virginia mayor, the headline was, the mayor feels he is encroaching on city staff work environment. And he encourages councilors to see if they are also too involved in day-to-day operations of the city. And I just think it's something that each of us on the board can look at ourselves and see if maybe we are doing that in our school district. Micromanaging or encroaching, whatever term you want to use, I don't think it's a problem, but I think it's something that we could do a little self-assessment and see if maybe we are doing that. And the other thing is to follow up a little bit on our conversation on committees and not getting a report or whatever. I think we should look at our committee structure. It seems we have several committees with 2 and 3 members, and we have some committees of the whole. And it seems as if lately that our committees with 2 or 3 people have turned into committee of the whole meetings. And I have no problem with that, but maybe we should make all of our committees committee of the whole. And I don't know, I trust a couple, 3 employees that are, or board members that are on a committee to handle the committee work. But maybe a thing that would help is what Keith brought up, is that when our committees meet between board members, or board meetings, that there be a little report from each of the committees that have met, that can be presented at our board meetings as a means of bringing the rest of us up to speed, without having to attend the committee meetings. That's all. Just a comment on maybe we should change our committee operations a little bit, something to think about down the road. That's all I have.
Thank you. Leon?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Mark?
Also nothing.
All right. And for myself, nothing. Keith?
I agree with Mark that we should look at what's been going on, because now we have, seems like we have more committee meetings during the day that not everyone can attend. And I'm not taking off from work because I work an hour drive away from here now to come in for a 1-hour meeting. So I would like to see if we can have the meetings in the afternoons like we used to have them after a regular, like 5 o'clock or so. But as long as we get some kind of report, I don't care. As long as I get something.
We're on the loop and
Yeah.
information's there, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be just from Jeff, even the members who are on the committee. Send an email out to everybody that, hey, this is not, if we can legally do that. I don't think we can.
I think it has to.
It has to go through you. It has to go through you. Yes, okay.
I mean, I'll be
I
honest.
did
with you.
But
remember.
we could, members of the committee can make
Yeah.
a report at our board meeting.
Yeah,
And I guess
something.
that's more what I was getting at, rather than Jeff having to
Yeah,
do all of the committee minute type things.
well, just so long as we know what's going on. That's
The
all I'm
advantage,
asking.
the advantage to having the superintendent send something out shortly after a meeting is it would give people a chance to formulate questions perhaps, or look at something prior to a verbal report from the committee member.
The committee reports could be part of our board packet.
Absolutely.
That would give us some time
That would
to
be, that would
Yeah.
work out
Yeah,
really
that would
well,
work.
actually.
actions.
Certainly.
Yeah.
All right. Did
Yeah.
anyone else have anything they wanted to add to this? Okay. Then we will go into our
Closed
closed
session.
session. Unless there's anything else on the table. Superintendent Carey, did you have anything else? All right. We'll go into our closed session and we'll come back together to adjourn.